Hey, welcome to The Explainer. We're about to dive into what might be the single biggest key to a trader's success. And here's the kicker. It has absolutely nothing to do with charts or indicators. We're talking about trading psychology, that inner game you've got to master if you really want to unlock your full potential. So let me just kick things off with a question for you. When you're in the thick of it, staring at that screen, who do you think you're really up against? Is it the big hedge funds, the super fast algorithms, or maybe all the other traders out there? Well, the answer might actually surprise you a little. Your biggest opponent, it isn't out there. It's not the market. The market's just, well, it's just the environment. It's totally neutral.
That's right. It's your own mind. The toughest, most challenging battle you will ever face in trading happens right between your ears. See, success isn't about outsmarting the market. It's about conquering those emotional and mental traps that are hardwired right into your own brain. All right, so first up, we've got to talk about taming your emotions, specifically keeping fear and greed in check. The pressure of trading, man, it can trigger some powerful feelings. And if you let them run wild, fear and greed are famous for completely hijacking even the best trading plan you could possibly come up with. So the big question is, how do we keep them in check? Well, it boils down to three things. First, you need a solid trading plan. Think of this as your roadmap, right? You build it when you're calm and rational, so it stops you from making crazy, impulsive decisions when things get heated. Second, you gotta practice mindfulness. When the market's going wild, simple stuff like deep breathing can be a total game changer, like a circuit breaker for stress. And finally, and this is huge, you need a balanced routine. Seriously, never underestimate the power of good sleep, some exercise, and decent food. A healthy body really does fuel a healthy mind. Okay, so getting your emotions under control is step one. Now for step two, dodging the mental traps our own brains love to set for us. See, our minds are literally wired with these little shortcuts, we call them biases, that can lead to major errors in our thinking. And in trading, those little shortcuts can be unbelievably expensive.
All right, first up is a real big one, confirmation bias. This is that pesky human tendency to only look for information that proves we're right. It basically creates an echo chamber for our trading ideas, where we only see the news we want to see and just kind of ignore everything else.
So here's the trap. You just start soaking up news and analysis that confirms what you already believe. So what's the escape? You have to actively play devil's advocate with yourself. Literally force yourself to go out and find the arguments against your trade. It's such a powerful way to pressure test your own ideas before you put real money on the line. Okay, next up is loss aversion. And psychologically, this one is fascinating. The pain of losing, say, $100 feels way worse than the pleasure of gaining that same $100. And that intense fear of losing, oh yeah, it can lead to some seriously irrational decisions. And this leads to the classic trap, right? Holding on to a losing trade way too long, just hoping and praying it'll turn around so you don't have to take the loss. The escape? It's all about discipline. It means you stick to your risk management plan, no matter what, and you accept that small losses are just part of the game. They're the cost of doing business. And for our third mental trap, we have overconfidence bias. You know how it is. After a few winning trades, it is so easy to start feeling like you're invincible, like you've finally cracked the market's code. And let me tell you, that is exactly when traders tend to make their biggest, costliest mistakes. And here's the crazy part. Your own success can be your biggest enemy. The trap is letting that winning streak fool you into taking on way more risk than you should. The escape is one simple word: humility. You have to constantly remind yourself that you don't know everything, commit to always be learning, and always, and I mean always, look at your performance with a cold, objective eye.
Okay, so we've identified the emotions, we've identified the biases. Now it's time to build our defenses. This is all about forging your mental armor. We're talking about psychological resilience, that toughness you need to weather the storms and inevitable setbacks that come with trading.
Building this armor really comes down to three things. First, you've got to embrace a growth mindset. A loss isn't a failure. Think of it as paying tuition for a really important lesson from the market. Second, cultivate an optimistic outlook. This just means you're always looking for solutions instead of getting stuck on the problems. And third, develop a support network. Trading can be a really lonely journey, and having mentors or just some peers to talk to can make all the difference in keeping you grounded.
This quote really nails the whole idea of a growth mindset.
It's about completely reframing what a loss even means. It's not a knock on you personally. It's just data. It's a chance to get smarter, to learn something, and to come back even stronger for the next trade. Okay, let's get practical for a minute. Knowing all this stuff is great, but turning it into an actual habit, that's the real challenge. So now we're going to talk about forging your mindset through a routine of constant, continuous improvement. Look, mastering your mind isn't a one-and-done thing. It's a process. It takes a consistent routine. So think about it like this. Daily, just take a few minutes for self-reflection. How are my decisions today? What was my emotional state? Then, weekly, you review your trading plan. Is it still solid? Does it need a few tweaks? And finally, this one is ongoing. Never, ever stop learning. Keep investing in yourself through books, webinars, whatever it takes. So, let's tie this all together. Mastering your emotions, dodging those mental traps, building up your resilience, this whole shebang isn't just some nice-to-have extra. It is the key that will unlock your absolute full potential as a trader. This is how you stop being at the mercy of the market and start being in control of yourself. And that brings us right to our final thought here. You can have the most brilliant strategy on the planet, the fastest broker, the fanciest tools, but honestly, none of that matters one bit if your head isn't in the right place. So I'm just going to leave you with this one question to chew on. Your strategy is ready, but is your mind?